The real reason Scarlett Johansson sued Disney. Have you ever thought about why Scarlett Johansson sued Disney and what caused this famous court case? There's a story going on behind the news and the legal drama that might change how we think about the contracts of Hollywood's biggest stars. What made Johansson really want to go up against one of the biggest names in entertainment? Do some research with us to find out why Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney. You may never look at the entertainment business the same way again. There's still one fight left in the Black Widow. But this time, it has to do with the House of Mouse rather than the Red Room. After starring in her last Marvel film as Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson announced her retirement from the heroic role. She sued Disney for allegedly breaking a contract. The actress claims that when the company chose to simultaneously release the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie in theaters and on its streaming service, Disney+, they violated their contract with her. According to court records, she stated that the agreement included an exclusive theatrical distribution and that her pay for the movie was mostly dependent on how well the box office performed. Johansson estimates that Disney lost her $50 million because of the simultaneous release of the film on streaming services, as reported by the Wall Street Journal. Johansson's lawsuit was deemed particularly sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, a Disney representative told the Journal, adding that the action lacked merit. Furthermore, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date, the studio stated, adding that it fully complied with Ms. Johansson's contract. As the pandemic threatens to surge for a fourth wave in the US and theater attendance remains low, the final conclusion of the lawsuit will likely determine whether studios release blockbuster films already in production to streaming platforms or not. It could cost A-list celebrities millions of dollars to release a movie on video on demand because many of their contracts explicitly link their pay to box office results. Johansson is hardly the first performer to voice worries about how the shifting industry might affect her salary. Warner Bros. Allegedly engaged in tense negotiations with director Patty Jenkins and star Gal Gadot when deciding to release Wonder Woman 1984 on HBO Max. In the end, they each received $10 million from the studio. These accords will affect professionals in other areas in the film industry as well as performers with less authority and leverage, even though we might not cry for the multimillionaires who are losing out on a big payout. Here's all the information you need to understand why Johansson is suing, how the dispute is influenced by Disney's handling of Johansson during her time at Marvel Studios, and how the lawsuit may impact Hollywood going forward. Infinity War features Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow and Chris Evans as Captain America. Johansson is suing because stars' contracts depend on box office receipts. In Avengers: Infinity War, Scarlett Johansson plays Black Widow as Natasha Romanoff and Chris Evans plays Captain America as Steve Rogers. In the past several years, the majority of companies have either introduced a streaming service, Disney has Disney+, Warner Bros. Has HBO Max, and so on, or, like MGM recently with Amazon, have partnered with an established service to offer certain films on streaming platforms. Several studios chose to release the high-budget movies that would usually top the box office to these online platforms when cinemas were shuttered due to the COVID-19 outbreak. The most noteworthy announcement came from Warner Bros., which stated that it would distribute all 17 of its 2021 film slate, which includes The Suicide Squad, Dune, and The Matrix 4 on HBO Max concurrently with each theatrical release. Mulan, Cruella, and now Black Widow were all given the same treatment by Disney, which Marvel fans could watch at home for $30 on Disney Plus Premier Access the day the movie came out in theaters. The studio's commercial objectives are not always clear. For example, when AT&T operated both HBO Max and Warner Media, Warner Bros. Chose to release all of its films on HBO Max. They have since spun off the service. It's probable that AT&T was more concerned with the quantity of streams on HBO Max, despite the fact that the plan would undoubtedly reduce the box office receipts for certain films. They are, after all, an internet and phone service provider. The C-suite may have thought that Black Widow's theatrical earnings would be sacrificed in order to attract a larger number of members to Disney+, even in simpler scenarios such as Disney Studios owning Disney+. Disney rarely makes available streaming data, but they did say that Black Widow brought in $158 million at the box office and an additional $60 million from people watching the film at home on Disney+ Premier Access. Disney's stock increased on Monday following the announcement. However, Black Widow performed poorly at the box office the next week. Theater owners accused Disney of cannibalizing Black Widow's box office potential by releasing the film at home. They chastised Disney for the decision. Numerous well-known actors still get 2 payments for each movie they do, one guaranteed ahead and the other contingent on the movie's box office performance. However, the pandemic has caused studios to place more of an emphasis on growing streaming subscribers than on maximizing box office profits. The effect is now being felt on the contracts of the actors. In her grievance, Johansson states that her group contacted the studio in 2019 upon discovering it was thinking about a two-release plan. Disney would release the movie using the conventional theatrical model. Marvel chief counsel Dave Galucci informed Johansson's team in an email that was included in court documents. If plans changed, we would need to discuss this with you and come to an understanding, as the deal is based on a series of very large box office bonuses, Galucci wrote. Johansson asserts that after learning that the studio intended to release Black Widow in 2 parts and that Disney didn't reply, her team did, in fact, attempt to renegotiate her contract. John Berlinski, Johansson's attorney, told the Wall Street Journal that this will surely not be the last case where Hollywood talent stands up to Disney and makes it clear that whatever the company may pretend, it has a legal obligation to honor its contracts. Scarlett Johansson is hardly the first well-known figure to oppose studio attempts to stream the highest-grossing films directly to streaming services. According to the New York Times, some creatives weren't as lucky as Gadda and Jenkins, who were able to work out $10 million compensation with Warner Bros. before the announcement of Wonder Woman 1984's streaming release. Hollywood insiders were allegedly left rushing to negotiate new arrangements with Warner Bros., since representatives of big names like Margot Robbie, Will Smith, Keanu Reeves, and Angelina Jolie were not informed of the studio's change in tactics. Christopher Nolan, the director of Tenet, strongly criticized Warner Bros. For its choice. The reason it's so controversial is that they kept it a secret. Some of the greatest stars in the world and some of the best directors in the world have been working for years on highly personal projects that they hope will be seen on enormous screens in 2021, he said to Entertainment Tonight last year. And now they're being used as a loss leader for the streaming service for the fledgling streaming service without any consultation. A true deception and bait. Many of Warner Bros.' star contracts were renegotiated. Johansson's contract with Disney would have been one of them. As part of their revised agreements, they finally paid performers and creatives over $200 million. Hollywood A-listers are reportedly still not happy that their big-budget films are being released on television. It will be interesting to watch the talent versus studio competition that is developing. Wahlberg is upset that he didn't find out about the Infinite release until it was announced. Denzel is upset about Little Things being on HBO Max, and ScarJo's outfit appears to be the tip of the iceberg. Actors currently assume a risk by wagering on a movie's commercial success. In the event that a film fails, the advance payment is refundable, but no box office incentive will be received. Since it's impossible to predict how much money Black Widow might have made in a different reality, Johansson's lawsuit and the streaming discussions are complicated. After experiencing years of sexism, the character's rule comes to an unpleasant end with this conflict. The most lucrative movie franchise in history is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The first, and for a considerable amount of time, the only lead female character in the Marvel films was Johansson. She was required to wait 11 years for her own solo picture, having starred in 9 of the franchise's movies. When Black Widow finally made an appearance, it was in a prequel that took place following her death in Avengers Endgame 2019. Her future in the MCU now appears to be zero. It is some A-level foolishness to not see the optics of joking around with the most well-known female character in this predominantly male universe, ScarJo, who had to wait 10 years of being a team player before receiving her own film. Stay informed on the latest Hollywood controversies and behind-the-scenes dramas. Hit that subscribe button to get all the inside scoops and exclusive updates directly to your feed.